Hey there, Charles here. In this week's episode, Dan and I will continue discussing Self-Care for Men by Garrett Muntz and share some pre-Groundhog Day thoughts. This was recorded before my trip to Punxsutawney. Dan and I will share and discuss what products and practices that we use to keep our faces looking the way they look. I'd encourage everyone to check out the YouTube video for this episode so you can decide if our skincare advice is actually worth following. Just visit mindfullymasculine.com/YouTube. And you can see full episodes, short videos, everything video that we post, it's there. Enjoy the show.
Good afternoon, Charles.
Oh, well, yes, just about. We're almost there. So how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Just exhausted after that 25-minute episode on spas. No, I'm doing well still. Good. This is, if you can't tell, this is the second episode that we're recording. But there will be a whole week in between when you guys hear it. I'm just trying to think of what else I want to talk about before we jump straight into the material, because I think this is going to be another short one.
Have you talked about your trip to go see the little groundhog already? I'm sure.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the show or not, but yeah, tomorrow I fly up to Pittsburgh and then drive to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania for the annual Groundhog Day festivities. And
apparently that's quite a to-do. What kind of festivities do they have before they actually rip the beast from his home?
They will have at the actual field, which for a front row seat you want to show up around 3 a.m. And the ceremony doesn't take place till like 7:20. So like
you doing
4.5 hours, I guess. Yeah, 4.5 hours. Well, I don't know. I don't know that I'm gonna show up quite that early. I don't know that I care about being in the front row. One YouTube video I watched of a guy who brought his daughter. They wanted to go see it. So he said basically if you show up by 5, you can get a pretty good spot. The problem is this year it's on a weekend. So the ceremony is a Friday morning, and so they're probably going to get a bigger crowd than they would if it was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
All right, this princess needs to dig in. Are there seats, or you have to stand the whole time?
No. There's a VIP tent that sells out like well over 6 months in advance, so I'm not going to be participating in that.
Did you look at the cost? I was curious.
It wasn't that expensive. It was under $100.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it wasn't like ridiculous. But it's basically just a tent with some of those like space heaters that bars outdoor dining have, or restaurants with outdoor dining. So and I think maybe a private set of porta potties.
Ooh,
yeah, fancy. So yeah, I will not be doing that. And the other thing is, when you're traveling alone, you either make friends who are willing to hold your spot if you have to go to the bathroom, or you lose your spot if you have to go to the bathroom. So that's part of the other reason. Like, what am I going to do? Show up at 3:00, get in the front, and then Charles has been pounding the coffee. Now he has to go use the porta potty. Okay, now you're at the back of the field. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show up around 5, maybe even a little later than 5, because I don't want a spot that I'm so tied to that I want to feel like, I can't go to the bathroom because I'm going to lose it.
What's the weather look like?
Pretty for there at this time of year, pretty warm, like 34, 35 degrees.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, I can handle 34, 35 degrees. That's not a problem. And plus, I did order my variety pack of hand warmers. So I got the ones with the hand, the toe, and the body.
Oh,
so you basically
are set.
Just pack yourself with those. And I was talking to some of the ladies I work with yesterday, and their experiences. They say that those things last for like 10 hours, but the seasoned users of those hand warmers were saying after about 3, they're not really hot anymore.
That's been my experience.
Yeah, so it's probably, in their lab somewhere, they basically put a heat gun on it, and 10 hours later, it still said it was registering something above ambient, and so they were able to say, heats for 10 hours. Yeah. But yeah, they said basically, especially if there's rain or snow, then you're looking at 3 hours. If it's dry, then you can get, closer to 6. But after 6, you're gonna want to swap them out for some new ones.
So my suggestion is you don't bury them so that you can't get them out or adjust them very quickly, because they can get actually pretty hot depending on the location. I felt in certain spots.
Interesting.
In my hands or on my feet, for whatever reason, maybe my skin was a little more sensitive there. It got really hot, and I needed to make an adjustment. So depending on how much you're bundling up, I would say just be
Yeah.
Be ready to make an adjustment.
My plan is to wear again, living in Florida, we don't have a ton of experience. I mean, you grew up in New Jersey, so you know what it's like to layer in the cold better than I do, because I only go to cold places for vacations. I'm going to do my base layer is a merino wool long sleeve crew neck. Then on top of that, I'm going to have I got this sort of Columbia knockoff fleece zip-up jacket. It's Amazon's brand instead of Columbia. $7.50 on Amazon.
Wow.
And it feels exactly the same. It's a decent quality zipper. It's got the elastic around the sleeves, so that it closes at your wrist. $7.50. So yeah, it was on sale, but still, that's an amazing price.
How many children did it take to make that thing?
I mean, it could take all of them for all I care, as long as it keeps me warm. So yeah, so I'm gonna wear that over my my merino wool base layer, and then on top of that, I've got a synthetic down jacket from LL Bean.
Oh, you'll be set.
And then I'll also have a sort of a fleece or fake fleece scarf that I wear. And then my favorite part of the whole ensemble is I love the winter hat that I bought a couple of years ago when I went to Chicago for Christmas.
Okay.
It's got orcas on it. It's red and blue, and then there are orcas on it. So it's really cool looking. I'll share a picture.
Okay.
A link to it in the show notes because I love that hat, and yeah, it's my favorite winter hat that I've ever owned. So I'll wear that as well too. And I was going to bring a shell for waterproof, but it's going to be clear, so I don't need to worry about that. So I'm pretty excited.
Sounds good. I can't wait for some pictures.
Yeah, they say that it's not that hard to go up for a selfie with Phil after the ceremony is over because everybody else is booking it, trying to get back to the buses, get back to town, because it takes place like 2 miles away from downtown Punxsutawney. And so you can choose to either park, as I understand it, you park at the Walmart and take like shuttle buses, or there's a closer parking lot that does not have shuttle service. So it's like 1.3 miles. So if you park there, I think you're committed to walking. And tell you, if it's mid 30s and there's no rain, I'm definitely walking. I'm not going to mess with shuttles as long as, and I was going to say, the only concern I have is walking on a street that you share with cars. But that time of the morning with that day, there's going to be plenty of people walking. I'm not going to be just one person walking on a dark road who's going to get hit by a truck. Right. So I'm going to walk it.
What did you know the story? Why is this town the town for groundhogs? I can't imagine that this would have been the only place that celebrates in this way.
I don't know. I mean, I do know that the lore is apparently it's a German thing, the idea of magical animals who can predict the weather. Which, I mean, for all the things Germans could be known for, I suppose that's not at the bottom not at the bottom of the list. So, yeah, that's I guess
it's no BMW or
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the fairy tales in the background and stuff like that. I guess the area was settled by German Americans, and they decided that some guy who was either on alcohol or some hallucinogen decided that a groundhog told him
too much Jägermeister.
Told him what the weather was going to be, and then he told somebody, and that gullible person believed him, and then stuff just myth rolls downhill, as they say.
Went viral.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to be very crowded. It's like a town of 5,000 or 6,000 people, and like 30,000 plus come in for the.
I'm surprised it's only 30,000 that come in because it's been on every news channel since we were kids.
True, yeah, and then the movie gets to a whole nother level,
right?
Yeah, which was not even shot in Punxsutawney, by the way. The Harold Ramis, the director, who was also Egon in Ghostbusters, he basically was like, I'm not going to Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania for a few months. I like my house in Chicago. I want to be in my own bed every night. So they shot it outside of Chicago.
I mean, if you can do it,
Yeah, when you've got that level of power and influence, you can call the shots. So that's what he did. But yeah, and in the movie,
well, that makes sense why Bill Murray was in it.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and in the movie,
it's all coming together.
In the movie, they make it seem like it happens in downtown Punxsutawney.
Right.
No, it's out in a field 2 miles outside of town.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, but they do have a lot of the parties and the balls and the galas and food trucks,
balls and galas. What?
Food trucks and polka bands and all kinds of like big celebrations that happen over the few days before and few days after. I'm not going to be doing any of those except for the food trucks and if there's they do live music and like there are festivities and performers on the stage leading up to the actual ceremony. So I'll get to, like, I saw some video from one year where the two MCs were up there in the Dumb and Dumber tuxedos, the powder blue and the orange tuxedos.
At least they're having fun with it. That's great.
Yes. Well, apparently a few years ago, it was not the family-friendly event that it is now. Now you cannot have alcohol on the festivity grounds like you could before. And like I think as recently as a decade ago, people would show up at like 7 o'clock the night before and start drinking.
I mean, people love their tailgates.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I will have more fun with it the way that it is now, as opposed to being around a bunch of people who've been drinking for 12 hours. That's not really my vibe. Never was, even when I myself was a moderate drinker.
Yeah.
But and they even had like some of the guys up on the stage in tuxedos that would like take the Groundhog out and talk to the like some of them were like barely able to stand up because they were so drunk. So yeah, we'll see what it's like this year. I mean, you can still show up drunk. I mean, nobody's gonna stop.
Sounds like we need some YouTubing to find some of those clips. That sounds great.
Yeah, there's ample stuff out there. But so I fly up tomorrow, I think around 9:20. So not my usual uncomfortably early flight, but I am flying on Spirit. And I think it costs me $91 for the round trip.
All right.
So, and then no hostels around Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. So I'm staying in just a cheap hotel room by myself. And I'm going to try to eat at some good local diners and places like that. That's my favorite thing to do and try to.
I'm sure you'll find something delicious.
Yeah, I think so. I'm hoping, again, with the big crowds, I'm hoping that since I'm single, just a single traveler, if a diner's got a counter, there's always, you can usually find one seat squished in. Yeah. So that's the plan anyway. I'm looking forward. I know I'm going to drink a lot of coffee and eat hopefully I'm going to try to find some real good German food for dinner tomorrow night. And then go to sleep probably around 6 or 7 so that, when I wake up at 4, because the hotel I'm staying at is like 40 minutes away from Punxsutawney. So I'm going to wake up, maybe find, a 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts or something to get some kind of a breakfast on the drive over there. And then I'll be eating second breakfast probably around 8 or 9 in the morning.
Sounds good. Sounds like it's going to be a great trip, man.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a unique experience that will hopefully lead to some good pictures, good videos, and good stories. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of it. And it is one of those things, like for whatever reason, Times Square in New York City and on New Year's does not appeal to me whatsoever, but this kind of thing absolutely does. Oh, the other thing I want to...
It's like dipping your toe in the water. Maybe next stop is Times Square.
I doubt it. The other thing I want to tell you about was we do have a pretty good Mardi Gras parade and Mardi Gras sort of party festival in Lake Wales, which is where I grew up. And that's going to be, I think, the weekend of the 9th and 10th. So if you and your lady don't have plans, it's not that long of a drive, and they've been doing it for
maybe
30 or 40 years, and it's one of the bigger. I think it might be the second biggest Mardi Gras parade after New Orleans.
Holy cow!
It's a big deal.
February?
Yeah, February 9th and 10th.
Okay.
I would say.
Thanks. Well, we'll check it out.
I was thinking that I haven't been back to Lake Wales since I left for college. I mean, I've driven through it, but I haven't like gone to any of an event there, and I was thinking about maybe going this year as well. So we'll see. Anyway, okay, let's get into our chapter on your face. Well, faces in general, but we'll talk about ours specifically. The important thing, I mean, your face is kind of your calling card. It's what people see, and so there's a good reason for keeping it looking as good as you can. And it also feels good to take care of your face. And you and I are going to explain what we do and the products that we use, excuse me, to keep this youthful visage. I mean, despite my 46 years, I've been told that I look like a 30-year-old baseball glove that's been left out in the rain.
Rope me in there.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't do everything that I should as consistently as I should, but there are a few things that I definitely do, which is in my shower, I keep a face wash specifically for washing my face instead of using my 18-in-1 Irish Spring. But I don't use that anymore.
That's eyebrow wash,
Yeah.
mustache wash,
Generally,
ear hair wash.
the only time I use that is like in the case of your house where I occasionally shower here. I've got a 3-in-1 that I keep in your shower that is not fragrance free, but it's good enough. And then if I'm seeing somebody where I might be occasionally showering at her house, then I'll leave some sort of a 3-in-1. Irish Spring did make a 5-in-1 that I used a couple times, and I like the smell of it as smells go. But as I said from one of our past episodes, if I'm going to use the Irish Spring 5-in-1, then I'm only going to smell like Irish Spring. I'm not going to use any other fragrance. It's going to be all Irish Spring all the way. And so, yeah, that days that I use that, it kind of takes using my cologne off the table.
Right.
Again, because I don't like the combined scents.
Yeah.
So anyway, but definitely I would not use a 5-in-1 or a 3-in-1, 18-in-1 to wash your face. Your face skin deserves some special treatment. So what I use for washing my face, and I've got Dan and I went through our own list. I use a face wash from Clean and Clear that's called Morning Burst. And so this one, they have a couple of, I didn't know they had multiple scents. The one I'd been using was like orange in color and kind of smelled like an orange. There's another one that I just saw on Amazon that when I buy, so there's a fragrance-free option that I like is the Neutrogena Ultra Gentle. That's pretty good too. But yeah, I like the Morning Burst has the Clean Clear Morning Burst has these little beads that pop on your face. And
it's like little zits. Great.
Yeah, no, don't be gross. It feels good.
Cold morning burst, and you just talked about these little things exploding on your face.
There are other things that burst besides zits, and the other thing that you're thinking of that you're not going to say. Yeah, the little beads, it feels good because I guess they can't have just the little plastic micro beads anymore because that was destroying everything from what I hear.
Some products actually had plastic beads in them. I didn't know that.
Yeah. St. Ives used to have some scrubs that had little tiny plastic.
So that's the one I used to use, but it was made from ground peaches, and it would actually dissolve. And that was.
I'm pretty sure they had some that
they may have. Yeah, they were all about the.
Yeah, there were a lot of companies that had the little plastic micro beads that.
Wow.
Yeah, when those got flushed out to the ocean, nothing good was happening. So I think it was during the Obama administration. He said, no more of this.
Yeah.
So the Neutrogena has an ultra, sort of clear for sensitive skin that I like. But if I'm willing to break my no fragrance rule, the Clean and Clear Morning Burst is pretty great. So their new one is lemon and papaya.
Oh, nice.
And it also has caffeine, which caffeine is good for tightening up your face skin.
That's
so
great.
When I run out, I'm gonna get that, and it's $17 on Amazon.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that lasts.
Oh, geez, I would say at a minimum 3 months, probably closer to 6.
Okay,
I just do one pump and then that's it. And I would say pretty close to 6 months for one bottle of that stuff. I don't have to buy it very frequently at all, and I do use it. We talked about not using soap and shampoo every single time we shower, and some people are leaving comments like, "You guys should use soap," but listen, I do use soap more than half the time, but especially on a day where I'm taking 2 showers in a day, I'm not soaping up both times when, unless I did something really sweaty or whatever. But if it's just, I want my skin and my hair to look like I've taken a shower before I go out for the night, there's no reason to, and I've just been sitting in my desk chair under the air conditioner all day. I'm not going to use soap and shampoo on that second shower. I'm just not going to do it.
Neither do I.
So you can take your judgment, you can shove it. Not you, Dan. I'm talking to the listeners that were.
Well, I can shove my judgment.
You can. And anybody who judges me for anything.
All the judges out there.
Okay. What do you use to wash your face?
So I like all my products from this place called theordinary.com. And basically what I use is this, I think it's a squalene cleanser. Very inexpensive. All the stuff from here are range between $8 to $15 per item. This basically is a little bit of a moisturizing cleanser so it doesn't dry out your skin, and it's made for your face.
Okay.
I like it because it's got a lot of just pure clean ingredients in it, and they don't spend a lot of money on advertising or manufacturing. You can go to theordinary.com and say, build my regimen, and walks you through like a 10-question quiz about what your skin is like.
Okay.
Do you like gels, or do you like lotions, or do you like oily, or do you like water? And it will recommend products for you based on your skin type, what kind of material or substance you like to put on your skin. And it will kind of walk you through a regimen where it's anywhere from 3 items to 4 or 5 items. But each one of them is like less than $20 easy.
Okay.
It'll last 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, and it is important to remember, if you think it's time to take on a skincare routine, avoid the go big or go home mentality. Don't go out and buy, some expensive 10-step process, because you're not going to end up using it. You're not going to stick with it, and you're going to waste a bunch of time and a bunch of money. And then also feel like, hey, I'm somebody who can't make a plan and stick to it, which is the worst. That's the most expensive part to me.
This goes back to, again, everything goes back to habits, right? So if you're going to implement this stuff, I would say take 1 or 2 things and try to find a specific spot in your daily routine when you're going to be able to use them. So like I keep the moisturizer, or the facial moisturizer cream in the shower. So it's the cleansing cream, I should say. And after I shampoo my hair, I put in the conditioner, and then I use the thing on my face. So then I know every time I'm done with the conditioner, I pick up the cleanser, right? I don't have to think about it anymore. Same thing with the other products there. I've got a moisturizer, and I've got something that actually kind of cleanses the skin a little bit as well for acne. And I use those after I brush my teeth, and it's just become part of my routine. Again, I'm not perfect with it, but if I didn't have that in a set order, I wouldn't be doing it at all.
Yeah, I use a similar order. I wash, the first thing I do in the shower after I've gotten wet and warm is I wash my hair. And then right after I wash my hair, that's when I wash my face.
Mm-hmm.
And then after my face is when I brush my teeth, because I keep a toothbrush and toothpaste both in my shower and at my sink. Because in my RV, I've only got one sink. It's a sink in the kitchen. And for the most part, I've got the things that I need to brush my teeth and shave at the sink, but I also keep a full set of a toothbrush, toothpaste, and shaving stuff.
That's smart.
In the shower as well. And I find shaving in the shower is way better for me. Now, I always keep stubble on my cheeks and my goatee area, and all I really have to shave is my upper cheeks and my neck. But doing it in the shower after I've been in there with hot water for 5-6 minutes, it's such a better experience than when I just try to shave at the sink. So I would say 90% of the time I do my shaving in the shower.
And it makes sense to have the tools in the right spot where you're going to actually use them.
Yeah.
Same thing. I've got a version of all of these, little products, smaller versions for my travels kit. And I just keep it in there. I don't move the stuff from the shower or from my sink into the travel kit anymore. And I try to get that as set as possible, so I don't have to think about it. I pick up my dot bag for traveling, and I just pack that in regular and just go. And again, it's just trying to remove those obstacles and try to make that as smooth of a process as possible, so that when I'm packing all my other stuff, this is another thing that's just stressing me out.
Yeah, I actually have 3. I own 3 of the little tubes of eye cream or under eye cream. I keep one here. I keep one in my little TSA travel pouch. And then I keep one in my refrigerator at home. And so wherever I am, I don't have to remember to pack something or bring something. These things, my oldest tube of eye cream is literally, it's got to be close to 10 years old. And I still haven't used all of it, because you use just such, a less than a pea size for each of your eyes, and it lasts forever. And so really, regardless of how much it costs, when something lasts that long, it almost doesn't matter how much it costs. It does, but
sure.
I would say, let's see, I've got the 2 that I know what I bought recently, ROC or Rock Retinol under eye cream is $22, and then the Neutrogena Hydro Boost eye cream is $13.
Nice.
So again, if these are lasting multiple years, then that is almost nothing. So that would be, other than and we're just going to go down the list of the things that I do use. He talks about some stuff that I probably don't use, but I definitely recommend using a face wash for your face. And then guys, especially as you're getting older, that area underneath your eyes is going to, depending on how much water you drink and how much sleep you're getting and how well you're eating, it could look bad, or it could look really bad. I mean, some people looks great, but
sleeping is the biggest difference maker for me, whether I have bags or not. And then The Ordinary also has this multi-peptide caffeine serum here that I will use and just kind of dab under my eyes when I feel like I'm a little puffy.
Yeah, and he mentions caffeine and peptides specifically as something that you want to look for in your eye cream to take care of the puffiness. And there's also I've tried one. I forget. I think Lumen's the name of the company. They have an eye cream that is tinted yellow that is supposed to offset the sort of bluish purple color of eye bags. And the idea is, you rub that in, and the light tinting will.
Yeah, it says a little yellow tint to it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then the other. Let me look up the other kind of eye cream. The third one that I've had for like 10 years. I remember it's Lab Series for men under eye cream or eye cream. Let me see what it's called.
You still use that?
I do. Even as old as it is, it still feels good and seems to look good. That's the most expensive one. That one looks like it's like $67 for the little tube of it. But again, if something lasts you for 5+ years,
I mean, if it works,
that's break it down. But yeah, that's the thing. So I've got 3 price levels, like $67, $22, and $17. I can't tell a daggone bit of difference between all 3 of them.
I've dabbled in the really expensive eye creams too, and I haven't seen much of an effect from those.
Yeah.
So,
and actually, I would say the Neutrogena one that was only like $12. I picked that one up at a Walgreens or a CVS on one of my trips to DC, because I only had the one and I didn't pack it. I was like, okay, I'm going to use this, and it actually feels the best of all 3 of them, the cheapest one. I don't know if it looks the best. I haven't done like one eye with one and one eye with another to sort of evaluate.
But you see a difference.
Yeah.
So
anything versus nothing, I definitely see a difference.
Yeah.
And feel a difference too.
Yeah, and I'd kind of go down that path too, is look for the more generic or the drugstore brands. Try that.
Yeah, start cheap, absolutely,
and see if it works for you. And
start cheap and then work your way up.
Digging into expensive.
I think the expensive one I got, I just asked some lady at Dillard's or something, like, hey, I think I want to start using some eye cream, and she's like, I got the perfect thing for you, and the perfect thing was like almost $70. Because she's a saleswoman, and that's what they sell. She's not going to say, well, I think the best thing for you to do would be leave here and go to that drugstore. So. Be careful when you ask salespeople for advice, because somehow they always have the right thing that you need. Okay, so in addition to that, I use a facial moisturizer lotion with SPF 30. And we were talking about a couple episodes ago. I didn't remember what level of SPF it had, but it was 30. And the one I use is CeraVe AM facial moisturizing lotion, and that goes for about $15. And that's another thing. I bought 2. I've got one that I leave here, and I've got one that I have at my house.
So I don't do the whole SPF thing because I'm not like out in the sun, working out in the sun all the time. And I think it's also important for us to get a little bit of vitamin D from the sun that we do expose our skin to. So I use one that basically it's got hyaluronic acid as a moisturizer, again from The Ordinary. And this is fairly inexpensive as well. I mean, maybe $10 to $12. And you get different sizes of this. That's what's nice, is you get travel sizes, and maybe just start out with the travel sizes, see if you like it, and then if so, then go ahead and upgrade to the larger size.
Okay, I just looked up, instead of listening to what you were saying, I was worried about disproving something you said instead, because I'm a terrible friend and listener. This is from the Skincare Foundation. Studies have never found that everyday sunscreen use leads to vitamin D insufficiency. In fact, people who use sunscreen daily maintain their vitamin D levels.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
There's reasons that you don't, use SPF if you want to and don't if you don't, but don't not use it because you're worried that you're not going to get vitamin D. It looks like the vitamin D production is able to make able to happen.
I'm open to being wrong. That's great. Okay.
And I think SPF 30 is pretty low. I mean, I think for keeping your skin free of probably cancer, but mostly wrinkles, I think some kind of an SPF is recommended for almost everyone, especially as you get older.
Yeah, could be.
So that's what I've heard, and that's why I've opted for one that does have SPF. The only other piece of skincare or facial skincare that I ever do, and I gotta say this is very, very rare, is I believe in the importance of putting on a night cream, and that apparently it feels great when you wake up after you've gone to sleep with a night cream on. I have some. I've got the Olay Regenerist Retinol 24 Max Moisturizer that I spent $35 for this little can of, and I never use it. I mean, I almost never use it.
And the funny thing is, I have one. It's not as fancy and expensive, but it's got a little vitamin C in it. It's a Luminous Night Cream by Andalou, and you can get them on Amazon or Whole Foods.
How often do you use it?
And the thing is, I don't use it every night.
Okay.
Even though it's meant to be a night cream, and I end up using it when I feel overly dry, and a lot of times that's during the day.
Okay.
And so I don't really know if there's that much of a difference between using a night cream at night or during the day, to be honest with you. I use it when I feel like I really am overly dry, and the other stuff that I'm using is a little thinner and a little bit lighter. So when I really want to hydrate my skin, I'll use that. And so I'll use that maybe 4 or 5 times a week at most.
It's usually during the day?
It's usually, believe it or not, that's because that's when I'm feeling it, not at night.
Yeah, I mean,
you tried it.
It looks like the biggest difference between night and day creams is whether they have SPF or not.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, where I know CeraVe, the company I use for my morning facial moisturizing lotion, they have a PM version too, and it just doesn't have SPF because they assume you're in a dark room laying in bed.
Got it.
So you wouldn't need the SPF.
Yeah.
But that.
Oh, and you know what? I think maybe some of them, the night creams, might make your skin a little bit more sensitive, and maybe the other is,
where the sun might be bad.
You might burn a little bit more easily.
That makes sense.
So I think that might be the case with some.
Yeah, I guess if there's some sort of oil or something that would interact with the ultraviolet light, that would be a good reason to not wear it outside. Yeah, interesting. Okay. All right, so let's do this. If I decided I wanted to care about using my night cream every night, let's brainstorm what would that habit generation look like if I wanted to start a new habit where I use it every night.
So my question is, let's think about what you're already doing right before you go to bed.
Oof, boy.
And where would it make sense to actually use that cream? Would it be in bed? Would it be if you're brushing your teeth before bed? Would it be at the sink that you're brushing your teeth at?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Where would it make the most sense?
The toothbrushing in the PM definitely does happen at the sink. Other things that I usually do every night is I give my cat some cat treats to get him to come to bed, because he won't just come when I call him because he's mean, hates me. I would not want to put the cream on in bed because I'm going to want to wash my hands after I apply it.
And I think for me, I like washing my hands before I apply it because I don't want that on my face. So maybe it's before you give the cat the treats. So you might need to actually have a couple of different behaviors in this habit. If you're not normally washing your hands right after you brush your teeth, maybe you might need to do that so that you've got clean hands before you put the
brush the teeth, wash my hands,
and then put on the night cream,
and then wash my hands again.
Yeah, right. Potentially.
Yeah, I definitely would. Yeah, I don't want the oil or whatever is to be on my hands all night.
Well, if it's not, usually the creams tend to rub in a little bit better. So sometimes, especially if I'm only using my fingertips, sometimes, I'll just kind of, if there's a little bit left in my fingertips, I kind of rub the rest of that into my hands. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I don't always wash my hands afterwards. So
yeah, see, my hand, anytime that I use any kind of hair cream or moisturizer, anything, I always feel like my hands are like dirt's going to stick to me. So I always have to wash
probably
them.
The best way to do it for sure.
So, okay. So I need to remember before I feed the cat his treat, after I brush my teeth, before I feed the cat, see if I can't stick again. I do worry that my why is not strong enough to actually remember to do this or care enough about doing it. So it's just one of those things I feel like I should do.
Right.
But the results of not doing it will only get worse, years down the road. So it's hard to, to remember that it's valuable now.
My suggestion is that for any new behaviors that you want to turn into a habit, do it in the morning when you've got the most energy and set up the environment, and then practice doing that habit a few times over and over again in the morning when you've got the most energy with your conscious brain, because it's our conscious brain that then programs our habit side, our unconscious or subconscious brain to get those habits in place. So don't try to do it when you're tired. I would say, put the moisturizer right there next to your toothbrush, and then during the day, even though that's not when you normally go to bed, practice that a few times so that your brain starts linking, putting the maybe drying your hands off from just washing your hands to opening that jar of moisturizer. And maybe that's what you practice,
Okay.
And maybe, if your hands are a little bit dry afterwards, it might be time for a hand lotion too. You could add that into the mix and use that.
No, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe I will look at...
I like a hand lotion at night. For whatever reason, my hands just get drier at night for some reason, or I feel it at night.
Well, if your
world stops and I can notice it, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if your AC's been running all day, it's probably been taking moisture out of the air of your house. So
good point.
Could
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah, I'll think about doing a little bit of comparison shopping for a hand lotion that I don't hate the smell or the feel of, which that's been the main thing that's been getting my way so far.
Yeah, I have some Gold Bond I can show you if you it rubs in pretty well and doesn't have a strong smell.
I want to see if there's because that eye cream from Neutrogena is more gel based than creamy, and so I'm going to see if there's if I can find a hand lotion that is more gel than lotion.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, not a bad idea.
See how that feels.
Yeah,
maybe I can make do with that. All right. Well, thanks for the real quick crash course on habitry. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Okay. Anything else to say about your ritual? What are some of the things that we don't do that other people might do or we could do? I think we covered exfoliation is something that you get usually if you shave your face completely clean, then you're getting exfoliation every time you do that. But the other options are salicylic acid and something with a texture or a coarseness to it will help with your exfoliation as well. That's part of the reason I like that Clean and Clear Morning Burst.
Yeah, and I made a mistake when I had acne as a kid, and I thought that I would exfoliate all the zits.
Ooh, yeah.
I would just
careful
dig
in. Yeah.
And I used tea tree oil, which dried it out, and it made it so much worse. Let it be, and just reduce the inflammation. And by scrubbing something and putting drying stuff on it does not reduce the inflammation. You wouldn't do that on a wound. Don't do it on your face, which is basically that's what acne is.
Acne is a wound. Yeah.
Basically a bunch of wounds, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. I know.
Worse.
I had a friend in high school with pretty bad acne, and he got on the Accutane, and that it works. I mean, it dries your skin up real bad, but it does what it's supposed to do, and also gives some people some mental health issues as well. But it definitely dries you out and makes the acne go away for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep, does work.
What doesn't make the acne go away is irritating it with either chemicals or rough stuff or using your fingers to mess with it.
And I would say if you've got bad acne, also look at what you're eating. A lot of foods cause an inflammation in your body, and that's also causes an inflammation that can lead to inflammation in your skin. So consider doing some sort of elimination diet, and perhaps
see if it makes
a difference. There could be a food that your body's just reacting with that's making things worse.
Yeah, and some of it is just a matter of your body's own hormone situation.
Yeah,
and the way, especially as young men, have that testosterone burst that happens at puberty, and sometimes for the 10 years following puberty, it's just enough to run a lot of havoc on your skin. And talk to your dermatologist too, because they should be able to recommend both invasive, non-invasive, prescription, over-the-counter solutions for you. And there's information to be found online too. Do your own research, but be real careful and make sure you're listening to experts. But that's rough. I'm glad that when I was a kid, I didn't have very bad acne. through my high school years, but a lot of my friends did, and it's a struggle, man. It is rough.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to anybody that has to deal with that. Okay, so the thing we recommend is keep your skin as clean and as moisturized as you can, and that'll keep you looking good as you get older.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it, and we will talk to you next time.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Wow, you made it through the whole thing, so you must like us at least a little bit, in which case you should definitely follow or subscribe to our show in your chosen podcast app. Thanks. We'll talk to you next time.